안녕하세요 여러분, 제가 캐나다에 오는 랜니라고 합니다. 제가 2월 말에 캐나다 밴쿠버에서 한국까지 왔습니다. 그 에픽 프로그램으로 지금은 부산의 영어 선생님입니다. 한국 오기 전에 조금만 혼자 집에서 책으로 한국말 배우는데 그때는 간단한 문법 알 수 있는데 지금도 많이 부족하는데 지금 너무 떨려 부끄러우니까 오늘은 여기까지만 한국말 말해줄게요. So that was my brief self-introduction in Korean. As you can see, it's definitely not fluent. When I'm speaking, I do have to think long and hard in terms of my grammar and how comfortable I am with speaking. I would say beginner intermediate. So today's video, I want to talk about how I learned Korean and my top tips for learning Korean that I would like to share with everyone who's interested in learning, how I've gotten to learn a fair bit of Korean in less than a year's worth of time, only studying by myself without going to any language schools to learn Korean. Because I have lots of tips to share, I would like to break it down into 3-part video. Probably this video, which is an overview and my best tips, and then another video for beginner level tips specifically, and then another video for intermediate level tips, which is basically where I am at right now. In my upcoming videos, I'll share more of in detail websites, apps to use, and more specific tips for the beginner level and the intermediate level. But this video, I just wanted to give a general overview of how I've come to really learn language faster. Anyways, so first off, let me start by saying how my language learning process has been. So as I've said briefly in my self-introduction, I came to Korea at the end of February, and I basically at that time had already studied Hangul and beginner, I borrowed 2 beginner's guide to Korean books from the library for free, and I studied it intensively by myself several hours a day, every day. I finished the 2 beginner levels books. Basically, I had come to Korea with only knowledge of Hangul and simple Korean grammar. I didn't attend any Korean lessons, so there was really no teacher to converse with me. And at the EPIC orientation, they had us do Korean lessons about every day. We all had to take a proficiency test prior to taking the lessons, and at that time they placed me into the lowest level beginners class. It was 1A1 group. After coming to Korea, I again took up studies, Korean studies, but because I had already finished my beginner's level books in Canada, I bought 2 intermediate level books, which I'll introduce later. So that is basically my progress. My first tip is to basically, when you're learning a language, I think a lot of people try to translate everything. English and Korean grammar is very dramatically different. The subject, verb, object order is completely different. You form a sentence in English and then you try to translate it in Korean, it'll come out wrong. And then also, every language has different words that sometimes cannot be translated. It's especially culturally tied words such as 눈치. There's no word in English for that. But basically, I learn it by observing. So people are 그 사람 눈치 없어. That person doesn't have 눈치. And then based on the context, I can learn, 눈치 means that person does not, has no manner, is not sensitive to his or her environment, and is sort of I don't know, there's no English word equivalent. But basically, like, I can learn what that word means. And over time, I have a really good concept of what that word means, and I'm able to use it as a native speaker would use it. Words that cannot be translated, don't give up on those words. You can learn them. Just try and, if you have Korean people around you, try to get them to use those words more in the context so that you can learn. And then after you've been taught that word, try to use it yourself. What I try to do is when my friend teaches me a word in Korean, I try to form sentences with that word myself in Korean. Sometimes I try and just force myself to think like a Korean person. So I changed my iPhone language system into Korean, and of course that sort of got me into trouble. I almost broke my phone, honestly, because I didn't know what I was doing. But over time, you like learn those words. You know how there's Google, and as a Westerner, we default to using Google to search for everything. But Koreans, they use Naver, which is the Google equivalent. As much as possible, I try to use the Naver instead of the Google search. And actually, if you're living in Korea, especially, it actually really helps because Google search will pull up results in based on the region of like Canada or America. But then if you search in Naver, like if I search, I don't know, like 닭발 맛집, which is like 닭발 is chicken feet, 맛집 is like tasty restaurant. If I search that in Google, I will not get as many like local hits as I would if I searched on Naver. So for things like that, I try to search on Naver. And then what else? Instead of Google Translate, I now use Naver Dictionary, which is a ton better, I think, because definitions that come up have usually a sample sentence, which is oftentimes submitted by real native speakers of Korean, and so it gives you a lot of context. Whereas Google Translate, I don't think has that feature. It just translates like the word into this. Like one word can have multiple translations, so you don't know which translation is exactly correct. But if you use Naver Dictionary, it will have like example sentences with, like in Korean, with English translation, so you'll know, that's not the word I'm looking for, it's this word. What else I did was I basically stopped using Google Maps and I used Naver navigation or Naver Maps instead. And all of those apps that I'm talking about right now are all in Korean. So of course this won't work if you're a beginner. This is more intermediate tips, but this is like the best way I think that has really forced me to improve in Korean. And I have many more tips to share for you. If you are interested, please stay tuned to my next few videos where I will give more tips to you. It's really late right now, so my brain is like, what? Anyway, so lastly, if this video was enjoyable and helpful for you, please give me a thumbs up and share with your friends. If you have any friends who are thinking about coming to Korea, want to learn Korean, if you're curious about living in Korea, teaching in Korea, eating in Korea, shopping in Korea, that is what my channel is all about. So please subscribe if you would be interested in any of that. And lastly, thanks for watching. Bye!